close the deal or find a buyer for you, and therefore you can relocate to wherever you need to go. Whereas with us, we can have the dialogue and say, hey, we literally have like a large database of buyers that are literally ready to close, and just, you just choose the move out date.
And if you built the rapport with the seller, you should already know their why.
Right.
If you don't know their why, you missed something pretty major in the rapport building.
Right.
However, that realtor could be smart enough to do that as well. Now, 6-month contract with a realtor, there's no guarantees on that. So once they sign it, they're in. And a lot of times these sellers want the highest amount possible, or they think they do, but they don't know what fees come off of it and everything like that. So a lot of times they sign it just because they're not educated in knowing what they should or should not do.
One thing I do with sellers is that they need money, but then they need time to move, right? So it's called post-possession. We do a post-possession. So we say, listen, I understand and appreciate this. Have you thought about moving? And they go, yeah, but have you found a place you want to go? So if you can find a place they want to go, and they go, well, I do. I found a place, but I need the money to be able to do it. And are you gonna be able to have the money once we close this transaction? And now you're trying to figure out their equity. And they go, yeah. I said, well, let me ask you a question. What if we could get you the money, we could close the transaction, get you the money, and then we give you time to move out, maybe 10 to 15 days to move out. Would that help in the situation? And I go, oh, could you do that? Well, I didn't know. I thought I had to move out once we closed. And they're like, that right there solved the problem, makes us look like a hero, and if on our intent as wholesalers is to get it closed as quickly as possible. So now I can close it as quickly as possible, do a post-possession, and we turn around and most buyers will buy them with post-possession. Okay.
Yeah, I had a
follow up.
earlier. So I actually got my license a year and a half ago.
Cool.
I always knew that I wanted to directly go into being an investor. And fast forward to now, I haven't been able to do a deal because I was under the impression that I had the freedom to just do whatever I wanted. Unfortunately, the big name brokers that I was working for was like, you need to come to the office every day and you need to do X, Y, and Z. And they were just trying to sort of like force me into being like this robotic employee. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But I also couldn't help but hear all of the frustration and all the problems from the other realtors, where I would overhear conversations where they would get the contract and literally weeks and weeks and weeks and months would go by where they're like, I've had like 87 open houses, and the contract either expired, or this fell through, or this person's escrow just fell apart, like all those kinds of things. And I would just make a mental note, like, yeah, I made the right decision. I don't ever want to be a traditional real estate agent. I want to be an investor with a license.
Well, do that. Look for there's companies out there that be transaction based. They'll charge $300-400 for like a transaction based.
Well, I actually talked to a friend of mine that is a realtor in Orange County, and he was like, come with me. He's like, I'll give you 100% freedom. Whatever you want to do, I'll back you up. Perfect. So I'm with him now. So my next question is, I live in Hermosa Beach, which is really saturated. It's really highly competitive. My question is, like, how can I go about finding the right market where I'm not wasting my time as well as my resources and my money?
Clarify the competitive. So how is it competitive? Too many realtors? Too many investors? What is it?
A little of both. I mean, I am definitely seeing literally on every street in my neighborhood, as well as like North Redondo, South Redondo, and even Manhattan Beach. I'm seeing a lot of houses being flipped.
Okay.
So I'm kind of.
So there's your buyer.
A lot of cash buyers.
So that doesn't necessarily mean that's competition. Now you need to look up who bought those houses, and there's your buyers. So most likely, the majority of the people flipping those houses are not going out and doing the marketing like you're going to do to actually get it. Those are the people that are going to buy from you. So don't think of them as competition. California in general, everyone says is such a competitive area. And I agree, there's a lot of us. Look how many just came here tonight, right? Yeah. So don't think that the area you're in is competitive because there's realtors. Realtors aren't our competition. Realtors can help us in a lot of ways. They can hurt us in a lot of ways, but they can help us in a lot of ways.
Even fix and flippers are not.
Fix and flippers are not competition because they're not going out most likely and getting this. They're either acquiring the property from a realtor on the market or a pocket listing, or they're buying from people like you. So if you're seeing all these houses, this is literally the perfect opportunity for you. You need to find out who bought that house.
Okay.
And you need to look up that company and you need to call them. hey, I saw you bought this house. I can supply you houses as well. Less hassle. What are you looking for? And start trying to find that out. Don't think it was competition. Every one of those people are buyers. Every time I see a house being flipped, we had one in Corona that we had, and there was one being flipped right down the street. We tried everything possible to get that one person on our buyers list, because that's who you want. You want the people that are, not the people that say they're buying all the time and they turn out to be a wholesaler that daisy chains the deal through 10 people. That person actually bought the house. There's your buyer. So don't think any area is too competitive. All of California, think of how many houses are here. So where you live right now, there's probably a lot of houses, right? So probably 5 feet to every property line. That's a lot of houses. So all those houses that are selling all the time, a portion of those are going to go to investors.
Yeah.
A portion of those are going to foreclosure.
And most of
situations.
and most of the competition that you think are competition, they're not answering their phone. It's going to a voicemail. They're not being with frequency. They're not just, there's an ocean of mediocrity out there.
There's literally
Just
somebody in this room
be
right
the
now
one, right.
that we met competing over a deal, which the deal didn't go complete crap, but it didn't go through. We met competing over a deal. We both had the contract signed by the seller. He's in this room right now, and he's in this town. You're living in Corona, right?
Yes.
His office is in Corona. He lives in Corona. When's the last time I saw you on a deal?
I haven't bumped into you on a deal, only lunch.
Yeah, just probably the one that we had the issue with.
Right.
And that was 3 years ago,
Found
maybe?
emails like 3 years ago.
So,
But you
He's
figured
here.
it out
He's here.
amicably.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I've seen him twice today. Weird, but I saw him at lunch. But the thing is you can't think of it as it's oversaturated, because if you have that mindset, it's gonna be oversaturated. Go out there, get it. Now, if you have competition in your area, find out what you can do better than the competition. Is your competition building rapport? I doubt it. Is your competition completely going out non-educated? They're going out and just saying, hey, here's my offer. Are you actually doing educated offers? Are you doing something different than what they're doing that you can literally just kick their ass? I bet you there's something. You gotta figure that out.
Well, the other advantage that I have is, since obviously I haven't done a deal in real estate, I've had to, pay the bills by driving Uber, and literally all day, every day, I probably see like my ugly houses.
Deal Machine app. Get that Deal Machine
Yeah,
app and
Okay,
start
that's
taking
what I was
pictures.
gonna ask you.
Get that going.
It's mind blowing how much I see.
Yep, and we put that out in the meetup group a while back, that I have a Deal Machine Enterprise account. Anyone in the room that signs up for that, takes pictures of it, we will market the
Pump
hell
it
out
in
of
there,
it,
right?
we'll get the deal, and we'll pay you.
Yeah.
So, if you want to talk to somebody that's a realtor investor in the room, Casey, raise your hand. Right there.
All right, go ahead, man.
I actually had a question about a deal that some guy I was speaking with.
Okay.
He was he's going through pre-foreclosure, but the thing is he's an older guy, and then he doesn't speak to his family at all, and he kind of he just forgets a lot of stuff. It's kind of hard for him to even keep up with himself. So for him to even be able to move out, he wouldn't even know where to go. Because I told him, I was like, oh, do you have family that you can go with, in case you do lose the house, or we buy it off of you. And then he says, no, I don't want to be with my family. Then I guess they don't treat him right, or something's going on right there. But for me to be able to buy, how am I? What would I do to be able to help him out so he has somewhere to go?
How old is he?
He's 72.
And how much equity is potentially there?
Yeah, for that. It's
Just
at least 50 to 60% on the house.
On how much is the house worth?
I would say it's in that neighborhood. They go for about 300.
So he has 150 grand roughly?
Yeah.
Roughly 150
Yeah.
grand? Okay, here's what I would do. Right, here's what I would do. I would not go after that deal trying to make a buck on it. I will go after that deal and trying to help the guy out. So what I would try to do is go contract the deal, right? Even if I made 3 to 5 grand on the deal, I'd be happy. What I'd do is try to get the deal done, get it sold to a buyer, stop the foreclosure, get the guy his 150 grand, right? And then try to find a home he can move into, some sort of, a retirement home or something like that. and see if he can like prepay rents on it for like 2 or 3 years or something, where he can get in there. And then I'd probably go over there and see if I can hire some movers and help him move out.
Yeah, because that's what I told him. I was like, oh, well, we can help you move out, and he was just saying, oh, like, I just wouldn't know where to go, and that's what I was thinking, like, you know, going, like, I, you know, even mentioned it, like, how you thought about, you know, going to.
Yeah, I mean, there are sometimes you're gonna be put in front of a seller, and now you have a choice, right? You can rise above the occasion, do the right, and you're not gonna make a bunch of money, you're not gonna do it, but that doesn't matter, because it will come back to you in ways that you don't even know.
Amen to that.
You won't even know. So what happens, you do that right thing for this guy, and you do the right thing, you can step up and do it, and maybe you're put there, that opportunity, and you make that right through that whole thing. I'm telling you, if you do that throughout your life, you'll have more and more than enough. More than enough.
You're a problem solver. So we've had people that don't have a place to go. We'll literally drive them around looking at apartments. We'll literally have money wired to their new nursing home, whatever they're going into. There's so many different things you can do. You can probably pull 5-10 grand off the deal if you want to. Honestly, I probably would. Now I sound like a greedy asshole.
No, but if you did five, even if you did five, whatever for your time or whatever, it's fine.
But still, you can definitely do some things to help the guy out. He needs options and he doesn't know what to do. So this is where it comes us being educators, right? We know our area and we want to help him. So what can we do to help him? Maybe he's someone that does not want to go into a home, right? Sometimes when you suggest a home to somebody, you may be done. So you need it to be his idea. Where is it you would like to go? I mean, if we found you an apartment, would that be fine? What is it that you'd like to do? Do you feel like you need more help throughout the day? And start pushing the thing for him to say, you know what, maybe if I went into like a nursing home with activities would be great. You got to kind of get that through to him. But it sounds like he's lost. We don't want him to lose his house, because if he loses his house, he's going to have a hell of a time trying to get that equity from the bank, and most likely he's going to be in a lot worse position.
And the thing is, you might be put in front of the guy, so some other scumbag wholesaler doesn't come and just try to steal all the equity out of his house, and then screw the guy over. He's not going to have the wherewithal to try to come back after him and stuff like that. But some people look at that and go, hey, guys, we're going to take advantage of this guy.
Yeah, that's what he told me, like, there was like other people that came knocking, and then they didn't even talk to him. He just said that, oh, they gave him some information and walked away or something like that. I actually went inside and spoke to him. There was like, a lot of
Stuff everywhere, yeah. Well, it's probably the perfect fix and flip
Yeah.
for someone to come in, they could do something on, try to turn around and try to help them get as much amount of money as possible and make it right.
If when using the deal machine app, the number that pops up is disconnected, what do you do? Like, do you use another skip tracing?
Yeah, you can use like a Ben Verified, benverified.com, and skip trace it that way if you
Okay.
want. It's a one-off skip trace.
Okay.
And it can get you some more numbers. The other thing too is if, knock on the door and knock on all the neighbors.
Okay.
You know what I mean, if it's vacant, we stick a sign right in the front of the house. Must sell fast for cash. Right. You're gonna get buyers that are gonna call you, or you're gonna get an angry seller to go, I'm sorry, I put it in the wrong house. Oh, do you want to sell?
You've actually done that?
Absolutely. Heck yeah! Hey! Someone's gonna reach him. All right, what's up?
Any of you have experience with PropStream? And,
Yeah, PropStream's great.
And their how reliable is their data?
I know the
usefulness
guy, he
with the
lives in Mission
stacking?
Viejo, his name's Rob, I met him personally and went to dinner with him over at Javier's in Newport, great guy, and their data is from American Title, and it's dynamically updated. It's the best of the best of the
I didn't hear his question.
PropStream. He's asked about PropStream.
One more.
One more, and we got 15.
Scott, this is for you.
Scotty.
How did it go with the open door appointment?
It went good. So not as expected, but it went good. So for those of you guys who weren't here last time, so we did a test on selling a property to Open Door. Everyone knows what Open Door is?
Yeah.
Okay. So Open Door is an iBuyer, basically. You go put your house online, they give you the offer, they close on it on your time frame. Basically, it has the potential to be a good competitor for us. So that went successful. We went to go record the appointment when they came to the house. but they actually didn't send a sales guy out. They sent 2 inspectors that spent 4 hours at the house going through everything. When I submitted to them, I did not own the house. When I got their original offer, I went ahead and closed on it so we could go through the whole process. The house was pretty bad, so I thought they were going to come back and really drop their price. They dropped it 10 grand after the inspection, which is about 4 times less than I thought they would. So I was actually shocked. So we did go ahead and sell the house to them. They did close on time. We made probably 3 times more than we would have if we would have wholesaled the house. But the thing is, we had to close on it. Now, we have tried to duplicate that process ever since. It's been more difficult than we thought. Every time we go and submit a property to them, basically they say, oh, we bought 10 houses in that area. We don't buy in that area. Okay, all right. Next one, oh, we bought 20 houses in this zip code in the last 2 months. We don't buy in that area. Okay.
So
But
there's probably a capacity, or they.
I honestly think their system just automatically spits out that crap. But ultimately, we went to lunch with one of our very large buyers, and he actually got submitted a property from Open Door that we submitted to Open Door and we had under contract. Open Door did not sign the offer with us. They were illegally marketing our deal to our buyer. Now here's the part that's really stupid. Are you ready for this? Our buyer's analysis said, no, we're not interested in this property unless we can get it for a lower price. But they almost bought it from Open Door significantly higher because they were trying to start a relationship with them. So they almost bought it like $60,000 higher from Open Door. But then luckily our sales rep there caught it and he's like, well, wait a second, I've seen this deal. So he called us and we talked about it. So they do wholesale. That's ultimately what their goal is on a lot of the properties. But we'll keep trying, we'll keep submitting deals to them and see if we can duplicate it. But honestly, they're so picky on what they buy. We didn't really see, I mean, most of the things they're not buying, they're looking for a certain age of house, a certain condition of house. I'm shocked they took the one they did. That house was pretty bad, but it's still sitting there and nothing's even being done. So not quite sure what they're doing with that, but they did make a $30,000 fee off of buying the house from us. So,
Made money.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you.
How do you find the right? What's up, these guys here?
I couldn't hear the question.
How do you find the right estimated repairs? You go to the house, figure out repairs. What do you do?
We just go basically if it's a 1,000 square foot house in Riverside, 30 grand, $30 a square foot. Go out towards Orange County, roughly $40 a square foot. LA, built like 1920s, 45 to 50.
$4 a square foot.
Yeah. If you're looking at a full rehab on it in LA, like $45 a square foot.
So between 30 to 45, depending on
Roughly, yeah.
location. Roughly.
Depending on location, but why are you asking that question? Is it because you're trying, when you go to the property, you're looking at how much repairs the house needs?
Right, and I've also talked with my buyer. They said they have a contractor that saw the property that I had before. They said it would have cost $75 per square foot.
$75. So what they're trying to do is they're
Screw
trying
you.
to, yeah, they're trying to get a deal from you, right? Your buyer is doing the same thing we're doing to the seller, right? You're the seller, they're the buyer. They're trying to build that gap in there so they can make more money.
And they're seeing if I've got a sucker, right? So they're going, hey man, $75 a foot to do this whole entire thing. Someone would have told me that. I said, listen, dude, I've got 10 other guys who'll do it $30 a foot. So if you're doing 75, you obviously don't know what you're doing, and I'm talking about that guy.
Yeah. Be educated on what you're talking to them about. Just, you can even respond like, oh, 75 a square foot?
What are you, a moron?
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. You know what? I got a contractor that'll probably do it for $25 a square foot. You guys should meet. Why don't I introduce you guys?
Yeah. Or the other thing to do is if you got a deal, you're doing it. These guys right here can probably sell it for higher than you can. Go through the process, understand the process, do a deal with them, and I'm telling you, you'll make more money. You guys know, I don't know if you guys know Jalen White at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've done that. When he came into my meetup, just like this, and didn't know anything about real estate. He's an 18-year-old little punk kid, right? Right? And he came in, didn't know anything, came in. We did the first like 5 deals together, 4 or 5 deals together. He didn't know anything, brought us the deals, and we sold them higher than he thought he could sell them for. He made more money, and then he went off and started crushing on his own. So start doing that. Bring your deals to these guys. You'll learn the process. You'll sell it for more than you think you can. And then if you have this objection that comes to $75 a foot, they're going to eat that guy's lunch.
I see a lot of people doing SMS messages now, and I've been trying to make my campaign bigger. Is it TCPA laws? Have they gotten lighter or something? Or like, how you guys doing with that?
Be careful. Text messaging. Mass text messaging. Is it legal? Is it not? Basically. Be careful. Be very careful. Right now, they're focused on RVM. They are literally going after everybody that is on RVM right now. They will shift and they will start going after text messaging once the complaints get where they need to be. Like RVM, do it at your own risk. I'm not an attorney. He's not an attorney. I'm not going to say it's legal or not, because ultimately I think when you go into court, just like RVM, you could say, well, technically I'm not selling anything. I'm buying. The judge might look at you and go, really? Come on. There's no really good answer for it, except for no, the laws are not loosening on it. If anything, the laws are going to get tighter on that kind of stuff. So any marketing you do at your own risk. You do RVM. I don't. It scares the shit out of me. He does it. He's good with it. A lot of people I know do it. I know guys that have also gotten fines from doing it. So all the marketing is at your own risk. Text is the newer one of it.
Actually, it's been around forever.
For the
There's
mass
specific
texting,
mass texting, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there is definitely specific laws.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
RVMs are illegal now too?
No, they're not legal. Only in Florida. Right now is the only place they're illegal. Potentially legal. Believe me, I got the best communications attorney on the planet, but I'm not an attorney, so I so take it as your own for the record. Okay, we'll bounce off that. What's up? Where are we going? Okay, go ahead. What? Wait.
I'll let
Hey, for both Sean and Scott, I just think that closed a sufficient amount of deals. A few in California, and then primarily just been operating virtually for the last year. But I want to scale. I don't want to be like so I like building like teams. I've built like some deal finders and some boots on the ground, of course. I just want to know for both of you guys, what was the team building progression, or like the hiring, hierarchy? Like, which person did you hire first? Then did you have them doing 1 or 2 things, and then?
Simple question. What do you hate the most?
Like the administrative, like stuff. Like a lot of data entry.
There you go. You need to look at what you're doing throughout the day, and you need to hire what either you hate the most or what you honestly suck at. So you need to hire for those positions first, because that's going to make your company stronger. If you literally hate everything you're doing with a certain task or a certain position, you're not enjoying doing it every day. So I think we can agree you're not putting your all into it. You're not doing the position your best. So you need to hire out for those positions first. Hire anything that you hate doing. And when you hire that position, what do you hate doing next? Why do you think Mike's here? Why do you think all those guys are sitting there? I hate acquisitions. If I go sit in front of a seller and they tell me no, I want to literally just grab them and be like, come on! I hate it. That's why they are sitting there, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. I have every position in my company covered now. Honestly, I don't really have to do shit if I don't want to. But I'm still in. I still like being a part of it. But I started hiring those positions that I did not want to do. We got my acquisitions hired. My wife was answering phone calls. I saw how much it bugged her, and I'm like, well, do I hire for the next position I want to get rid of, or do I help her out? I helped her out. But we got that position hired so she could get out of that. But all you're doing is you're transitioning to the next role. So hiring is not easy. Have fun. People don't like to work.
Yeah, I
But-
do the, I highly recommend, probably the best business book I've ever read in business, probably Traction by Gino Winkman. It's a great book. I highly recommend that, and I use that model for the process. You have a vision, you have your core values, then you have your vision, then you have what's called an organizational chart. In that organizational chart is all the members. You need a lead manager who answers the phone, you need acquisition who goes on appointments, you need disposition to sell, you need a marketing person that can handle the marketing, you need a CFO to handle the books. Each one of those roles have specific tasks that they do, and they report on specific numbers. So I have an organizational chart that I hire per the organizational chart, and I want to find the right person that fits the right seat, that they want it, they get it, and they understand how to do it. And then each one of them has specific payrolls, right?
Do you
So
use like a DISC tool to like determine?
I don't use
personality?
DISC analysis. I use the Kolbe, Kolbe test, Kolbe test. So I use that to kind of determine. But honestly, I'm not a good hirer because I want to, I look at the best in everybody, So we have a whole process that they have to go through to weed them out. So we'll get 100 people that want to come work with us, and it's basically going to spit out 2 or 3 on the other end. But they have to go through a whole process before they even can get in the door in front of me.
There's a company out there called Wise Hire. We just learned of them, and it actually is pretty cool. So you go out there, you pay the subscription, you put your job on it, but they actually do a type of DISC Kolbe test for you, and they submit feedback basically to you on the candidate before you even have to deal with it. So instead of you going through 1,000 candidates, they might help you narrow it down. But the thing is I don't put a lot of emphasis on those type of tests. I honestly think someone sat around and came up with them, and that's just my personal opinion. I figure I can just come up with my own test. We can literally put someone on the spot in the interview. Dylan is brand new with us right there. His interview, we literally put him on the spot. We made him bring something to sell us, and our whole point was to trick him all along. We want to basically screw up what he's selling to us. Did we succeed?
Yeah.
We had no idea what he was going to sell us, but our goal was we knew we were going to screw it up. We're going to screw up his pitch because we need to see how he recovers himself. So that to me is better than a Kolbe, better than a DISC test, better than anything. Literally, just fuck with someone. Because you're going to see how they do. So that's really what it comes down to. Because when you're in front of a house and the seller tells you no, what do they have to do? They can't keep going that same route. They have to change direction, and they have to come up with a new way to do something. And that's exactly what he did. He's sitting here right now, and he's hired because of that very reason. Because he shifted, and while he may not have completed the sale, he ended up having to give his product away basically for free.
We loaned them the money to sell it to us.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, but it worked, and he didn't even know we were doing that on purpose until right now. So, but I mean that now he's not going to come to work tomorrow. But that was the intention of this kind of stuff. You sit in an interview with the two of us, we are going to literally fuck with you. Sorry for the language, but we literally are. Because that is the goal. I don't give a shit what your experience is. I don't care. We can train that. Are you coachable? And will you fit in with my delinquent team? Sorry, my adult daycare. Whatever you want to call it. Will you fit in with these misfits over here, or won't you? And that's what it comes down to. And I mean that joking. We have a very weird team environment, but it takes a lot to fit in with that. Because if the person doesn't fit in with the team, to me, that's more important than anything. I can train those people to do anything. I can say, Mike, train Dylan on sales. Aaron, you should have seen him when he started with us. I'm not talking trash about him, but Aaron he was very green and stuff. He didn't know what he was doing, and we had literally put him through basically a fraternity for the last 10 months, and now he's closed 4 deals since he's been promoted. So that's the thing, is you've got to focus on the person. I don't want him to hear it, so earmuffs. But we saw something in him. We didn't want to admit it at the time, but we saw it, and we helped pull that out. And we put him through the ringer. The ringer. Very bad.
That's a really nice way of putting it.
That's a nice, very nice PC way of putting it. And he's next.
He's next.
11 months of
Does that answer it, kind of?
Yeah.
I kind of do this. So, You had a question.
How do you calculate the ARV from a property that's been burnt down?
Oof. That's pretty much going to be rebuild costs in most cases. If you're talking burnt down, literally it's down.
Yeah.
That's rebuild. I mean, rebuild on that kind of stuff could be anywhere between $150 to $200 a square foot. If the house was old, you may have asbestos sitting there. You may have to dispose of something. We steer clear of those just because there's a lot of nightmares that are involved in that stuff. But I mean, if you're just trying to calculate it just to try to see if you
Like
can move it,
1950s?
probably has like an asbestos. What does asbestos stop? I don't even know.
1978. But,
Okay.
78, I think it was. But typically what we do is I just do a land value. So land value and home value, you basically just look at the land, buy it for the land, and then you have to still buy it at wholesale for the land. So if you have a $100,000 house, it's typically 25% land to home value ratio is what it is. So it'd be $25,000. At 50% of that number is $12,500, right? So if it's a $200,000 house, $50,000 you'd offer $25,000. So that's the actual land itself. That's a wholesale number for the land. That should be able, you should be able to wholesale that type of deal at that number. But so the buyer's going to have to come in. They're going to have to demolish it. They're going to have to deal with the asbestos. They're going to have to deal with all the environmental stuff going on and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
We probably have time for like one more. Take the pick, no pressure.
Let's just take them both of you guys.
All right, so
Okay,
walk
you
us
first.
in.
Ladies first, man. Ladies first.
Hi. I have a question about a tax delinquent list in Southern California. How do we get them, and do they cost, or I wanted to know how that would work.
Good question.
You can definitely go to ListSource and pull something like that.
ListSource, definitely.
Oh, sorry, not ListSource. Rebuild Gateway. My bad. Rebuild Gateway. You can go to them and pull it. I think it's just rebuildgateway.com.
ReboGateway.com.
Yeah. Rebo, R-E-B-O,
Yeah.
Gateway.
And you're gonna buy it by the county.
Yes.
By the county.
You will pay, but they have like a subscription. So it depends on what their subscription is. I don't know if you could just buy just
It's like
one
$300
list.
or $400, like $300 or $400 a year for the county, and I'm guessing it's been a while.
You get a
since
certain amount of pulls though, so you can actually get more than if the tax. So I know the size of it. Most likely, you're going to be able to pull more than that just on it. So I think you're going to get a certain amount per month that you can pull based on your subscription, your yearly subscription.
Okay, so not the tax assessor's office. I heard.
I mean, you can go
Yeah,
try to
you're gonna
fight
get a
them.
big disc.
Yeah, you can go try to fight them and try to get it.
Well, the disc isn't this big. It's just a disc. It's a lot of data.
You're just gonna have a lot to go through.
This big to process it.
If you want to go that route, by all means, go for it. I could probably sit at a computer and have the one from Rebo Gateway probably signed up, have the list in my hands in 5 minutes. You're going to deal with, well, we don't provide that information. Well, yes, you're supposed to. Okay, well, we don't do it because of this. Okay, well, my lawyer says otherwise. All right, and you go back and forth, back and forth. Next thing you know, you're like, okay, it's literally been 12 months since I tried to start getting his list. So just keep that in mind. You can do it if you find a way to do it and you can get through quickly, by all means, do it that way. But
Yeah,
it's
I
going to
have
be
an
hard.
intern that took him 2 weeks just to get the disc, to process the disc, to figure out the land use codes and all that type of stuff, and try to pull all of it out.
Yeah.
And the disc is still $350.
They don't make it easy.
Yeah.
The data is not, it's not like they give it to you in a nice Excel sheet and you're like, this is perfect, I can literally just drop it and market it.
Yeah,
no, it's in like usually a file that has to be converted a specific way, so you probably got to go to like Fiverr, have someone convert the file for you, go that direction. It's a pain, unless you know a tech guy like I do, Don. You know, then you just call Don and say, hey Don, can you take care of this for me? Yep, that's him, right there.
That guy.
He can pretty much do anything tech. So there he is. Talk to him. Bombard him.
What's up, man? Last question.
Last question. Purchasing properties like in rural areas or outskirt areas, do you recommend that? Because sometimes I come across properties where it's sitting on 2 acres, it's a small house, and a barn, and all this other kind of stuff. Is there really a market for that? Like, is it worth chasing those down?
Does money exist there? I mean, when you get into an area like that, keep in mind your buyer pool is going to be less. Investors are definitely going to want a larger return because the days on market are going to be higher. So, is it possible? Yes. Do we do it? Yes.